Well, hey there everyone, it's Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike and I do bees. Welcome back to Southeast Louisiana. It is June 3rd and got a little bit of work to do today. That's right, folks. Going to do a little bit of work. Just got to bust through a couple nukes. And I want to move some supers off of some colonies. I know there's some supers that aren't drawn. When I put some of the drawn ones on at the very end, I think the flow was kind of wrapping up, or the heavy flow. So they weren't interested in messing with them. And what I want to do is take them off some of those colonies that don't have the numbers necessarily, maybe not huge, and put them on huge ones. Not that they're going to fill them or draw them, but just to give them that sense of space to go in and hang out a little bit more inside. It just makes me feel better as a way of swarm control. Even though the nectar is coming down, when nutrition begins to deplete, they begin to lose the urge to swarm. If they've already got that urge, they're going to go anyway, but it's just one of those things. I got a leftover nuke. Well, it's not leftover, it's one that never really made it, and then finally I got a queen. I just, for the heck of it, threw some emergency cells in there and said, let's not shake them out or combine them. Let's throw some emergency cells in. Sure enough, they made a queen, and I think their population's big enough, and I got a guy who wants to buy it. So I'm going to sell that one. I'm going to go through it real quick. I do want to look through one that I messed up big time on. A queen. Got out of my queen cage because it was bent, and I didn't realize it. Always watch your queen cage. I usually always set the queen cage on top of the frames of the hive I'm working. For whatever reason, this one time, I even thought about it. I set her over on a lid of a neighboring nuke, and I picked it up. She was gone. I opened the nuke, the pro nuke, inside the yellow lid. There she is running around, because this one, you could tell she was running for her life. I went to grab her, and as I grabbed her, I thought I had her by the wings, and she slipped and went under a comb. So I'm watching while I'm setting something to the side, and then I couldn't find her again. She was gone. I think she either went in the grass or she went in that colony. So I'm like, well, let me look through that colony. And I see a virgin in there, which is what I expected because they had cells 2 weeks prior. So I never found her. So I put them in a box and said either the virgin's there or the mated queen's there. Somebody's there. Somebody's going to have eggs in a week. And I was sick to my stomach about that because, gosh, I just got that other nuke where she came from going. And the only reason I caged her was she was on the first frame, and I needed to check the other frames for brood patterns because I could sell that one too. And I didn't want to harm her, so I stuck her in there and didn't check my cage. Obviously, I keep it in my pocket on my suit, and I must have lifted a heavy box or something, and bent the cage in the suit and didn't notice. Always check those metal cages, always. Clips, it was a clip. So that's what we're going to do today, look at that and move a few supers. Packages, I might go make some splits. That'll be a separate video. I think I might just go ahead and split 3 of them that can be split now and be done with it. And then if I feel the need to try and do something in fall, I will. But I'm at the point where I said before, if they split, they split. If they don't, they don't. It's not my livelihood. It's not going to make or break me. So I'd rather play it safe than sorry. But we're going to see what they look like midsummer. And if they've grown enough, we'll split them again. And my target date of June has nothing more to do with the fact that I got availability to the same line of queens. That's it. That's the main reason. So if I have to push it to fall, I got somebody that's got a similar line from the same place. I might get those, or I may not. But in the end, we'll split what we can split, and what we can't, we won't. It'll all work out. It'll all work out. What's going on here? Yeah, always scouts been around this thing for the last 4 or 5 days. Lots of scouts. I'm guessing they're not in the tree yet hanging, and maybe they're just coming from the hive to be there this long. And lots of scouts, not just a few. Just checking it out, all flying around it. Who's swarming? Could be the neighbors, could be mine, could be a feral, could be anybody's. Who knows? But I will look in the trees. I always look up high and only hope that they're down low, but all of them been going high, 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 high. And you know, I figure, hey, if they're low and they're easy pickings, that's my shot. If they go high, that's their shot. Meaning, if they go high, they deserve to go. That's their ticket out. If they go low, shame on them. That's my ticket to keep them. Unfortunately, those big giant ones are always up high. And the little ones, they're the foolish ones that stay low. Basically, the ones I thought swarmed did swarm. You can tell just by the activity on the colonies who swarmed and who didn't. But what we're starting to see is a lot of bearding. And when we see a lot of bearding in the day, I mean, when they should be foraging, it means there ain't no foraging to do. All their, as Mr. Julian used to say, they're truckers. All their over-the-road truckers are all back, sitting at the stop. Nowhere to go, no loads to go get. And that's what we see, and then they begin, of course, to dwindle. So we're going to go out here in the yard and do a little work in the nukes. All right, let's walk. So you can see the activity. Actually, the one double right there, I'm not too concerned with it. I actually should have put a box on this single. The brick is standing up from last week. It looked very weak, and then all of a sudden it looked like it came on strong. That one, the tall one's good. But you can tell, see the difference? The question is, when they swarm, I think about 4 of them swarmed. Did they leave enough? That one swarmed early on, so maybe 5. Did they leave enough bees to really do anything with it? This is the one that ended up putting another box on with the gray lit top. The one on the right didn't do anything, but you can tell. So with those bees just hanging out, a lot of times, and they're washboard and everything, cooling, the sun's coming up on them, it's gonna be 90 today. When those bees are just hanging out and there's nowhere to go get nectar, they don't go get it. They hang out and they beard. It's not always a sign of swarming. Early in spring, probably so. But once we get into like July, you'll see all kinds of bearding until the numbers come down. I don't do a lot of feeding, as you know, so my numbers will come down. I won't keep the brood nests rolling too much. I will on my packages this year. But that's why I'll let the numbers dwindle till fall, and then fall, let them build back up, and then feed them up in October after the goldenrod's done. So here's some of them. Like this one here, it just didn't need a box. It didn't seem like. I mean, I looked at it over and over, and just weren't doing nothing. That's a new queen right there, and a combine. That was the laying worker I put on top. Laying workers were in there, put it on top. But these are crowded in. These are crowded in. So I'm gonna look back at my pictures and know who I really like. This one here, this I want to put a box on them. I don't think it's gonna matter for honey, but at least give them some space. But everybody else is flying high, doing good. And so there's about 2 others that swarmed over here, and that's best I can tell. And hey, it is what it is. We're gonna hope for the best. But like this one here, let's look at this. No. Is it this one maybe? Oh, okay, I know what I did with this one. I put a Ross round on this one, and I want to see if the bees are in it. If not, I'll stick it somewhere else to make space. As I said, I think the flow is just about done. I'll be pulling sticks and vents out of here. Yeah, they didn't do anything with the Ross round, more than likely. Well, they're just using it as space, but they didn't draw anything out on it. I'll probably just leave it there, because, I mean, they're drawing it, but... And there's still a few things flowing, but it's all trickle. And this thing requires a seriously heavy flow. But I stuck it on there just because it was in the midst of the flow. I personally didn't have any expectations for it, but I just wanted to give them some space. So anyway, that thing, I'm not gonna pull it off. They're all up in there. But underneath, this was a single. And I already had 2 supers. I just wanted to be sure they had space. But if we look underneath, well, maybe I will pull it off. There ain't a lot of bees in here. That's all honey. So my plan is to start pulling a little early this year, because I want to get ahead of the game. So something like this, it's capped almost all the way down. I think it is. Let's take a look at a frame and see, because my plan is in about 10 days to go through and find capped honey and start extracting, drying and extracting. So that's ready. So like this super, I want to get it out of here. I want to get this off. I want to get it extracted into buckets and start early, so I'm not scrambling at the very end. Well, that's full. 2 supers full of honey. Let's just leave the Ross on there for now. It's not going to do anything. They're not going to fill it. Nobody's going to fill it, no matter where I put it. But it gives them space, makes them happy. And this is a new queen. Let's leave her alone. I didn't talk much about that Ross round when I put it on. I was simply, at that time, scrambling to put some supers on. I had plenty of supers this year, but they were all undrawn. And I just stuck it on to make space and thought, you know, if we do have 10, 15 days of the flow left, maybe they'll fill it. But it needs to go on to the beginning. I have used that super 3 times, and 1 time they filled it. And I got that thing when I was a new beekeeper, and like so many new ones, we all have this idea we don't quite understand flows and timings and things of that nature. And we go buy stuff like that and don't realize what it takes. So I tried it the first year, didn't work. Didn't know any better. The first year I bought it, it was like 3 years into beekeeping. Well, a couple years later, I'd learned to do comb honey a little bit, and I said, I'm gonna try it, and it worked. Well, then I tried it again, and it didn't work. And so I've kind of tabled it, or use it like this, where I just threw it on to just make space. Just get some space on the bees, give them somewhere to go up and ventilate to prevent swarming. You know, kind of in the back of my mind, hoping they put something in it, but knowing they probably wouldn't. So it's not a huge loss. The biggest loss is the wax that you put in there. But look, these are secondary blooms from the tallows. And tallow has a unique feature to where it has male and female blooms on the same tree and the same stem. The base is either female or male, and vice versa on the part that goes up. Then, so the secondary is one or the other, I'm not sure. Some still have the tassel hanging off that's dried up and a second one coming out of it. And not all of them put the second one on. Not sure what that'll yield, but these are some of the largest and most full ones. I was talking with a commercial guy this morning, and these are some of the most full ones we've seen in a few years. I've never seen them quite as full. He said it's been a long time since he's seen them like that. But so will we have more nectar? I don't know, but you know, we're gonna try and move some supers around anyway. I won't extract and put back on the majority of them, but some I will, just because this year I want to make sure during the summer they have space. That'll be my purpose, just to give them space whether they fill it or not. If they do, great. But I want to store any supers that had brood in them over excluders throughout the summer, so I'm not dealing with wax moth in my supers. Of course, clean supers with no brood, they'll do fine without it. They don't need any treatments. The wax moths won't mess with them. But the ones with brood will. And then when I run out of those, I will put clean supers, clear supers over some of the larger colonies. I usually reduce them down to 2 boxes and don't worry about it. And they do fine normally, but I'm wondering whether there have been some swarms late into the summer that were because I did that. You know, I don't know. And then come December, you know, as long as they haven't loaded it with stores, I'll pull it off when the wax moth threat is gone after the first frost, so probably even November. So here's a little nuke we're gonna look at. The guy wants to buy it. I reduced the price since it's so late. Yeah, they got a few bees on there. So I hate these pallets like this time of year. Always picture a copperhead underneath there, and it won't be the first time that's happened. They got it stuck down good. Oh yeah. So it's ready to go. And I'm going to move this to a box for the guy and bring it, and he's paying me a little bit for all that to do the handling for it, have it set up for him. And he's going to provide a little bit of equipment, but I'm going to provide other, so we'll get him a late colony that is going to be loaded with food. See, they've actually drawn this out pretty doggone good. This wasn't drawn out that well. And she's... oh yeah, it's laid up with eggs. Laid up with eggs. Again, this camera doesn't pick up eggs well. It's the only fault I have with this one, but we'll look. There's the queen. I say it all the time, looking when you have eggs on a frame and all that, and it's a lot of eggs and there's not a lot of cat brood, look for the queen. Well, there she is. Saw her walking as I was trying to show you the eggs. And the pattern is in there good enough. I'm putting her back. I'm putting her back. So I got eyes on her. This thing's ready to go. I'll probably get it to the end of the week. Yep, this is going to be gone. No need to even go into that one. I saw brood on the frame. There was some on the back side. I wasn't going to dig it out too much. So here's one of the supers I might take. This was the swarm I caught in Marion's yard. So I looked at it when it spread out the first week as we looked at it. And I said, let's throw an excluder and a super on there. So I did. Then I threw this second one on, and I don't think they're going to do anything with it. But you almost hate to take it away from them. Here's the problem. I threw it on late. But again, it was about space and not having any drawn. And they've started, but there's just not a flow coming. That's pretty good for not having a flow, I'd say, but there's no flow. The bottom super is just full of honey. The swarm that made it. See, it's just not. So I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to take it from them. I was going to. I mean, they're drawing it, and they're putting honey in it. It's getting filled with honey, but we put this on at the end of the flow. That was our mistake. These have some honey in them. Come on out. It's stuck. They got burr comb and all. So they're trying to do something with it, but there's just no flow. It's no flow. It's the little bit of flow there is slow. Let me put it that way. So yeah, a little bit late, but that's all right. At least they have the space. It's keeping them in here, which they were a swarm. Hopefully they weren't going to try and swarm again, but there's no telling with bees. So I don't regret putting these on. The problem is the unused sections will get cleaned of the wax. I'll have partial frames that need re-waxing, so I'll end up having to re-wax them. But that's all right. If it saved them in the colony and kept them from going anywhere, who knows? And you know what? I'm going to leave these on. If they're not full, I'm going to leave them on over the summer anyway. Never know what we'll come up with. I'll just leave an excluder in there and let them do their thing, and we'll pull them in the fall. Let's look at the one we did the removal on, and it is, okay, so we did a removal on this thing less than a month ago. Came back in, checked, make sure we had a queen, and we did. And I told you it was a massive one. Look. Okay, that's something. By July, I'll be able to pull this out. I got some pollen in there. I did pull the excluder. They weren't going above it. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna get them in here. I didn't waste any time. I pulled it out. I didn't. And so the week after, when they started immediately filling it, I didn't see any eggs. I checked very carefully for eggs. Didn't see any eggs, and that is just all nectar. So, well, that was a bonus. Thank you, Jesus, for the bountiful honey in this colony. This is the culmination of it all right here. Not this one, because this one we didn't manage, but this is the culmination of what we do all year. And look, while we didn't have a major spring flow, and we went dry until 3 weeks ago, I'm grateful for what we did get. I'm very grateful, and it's turned into be actually a very good flow. And that's fine. That's how it used to be. I never worried too much about the privet. It was nice to get it and do a harvest in May, but it's always been about a build-up flow. It's always been about that. So here's our situation. I either got a mated queen from the colony next door when I messed up and she got away, or we got a very newly mated queen or still a virgin in here. And the problem is I put them in this box because they needed space. I gave them a couple drawn combs, some foundation, because, well, I guess while they were making that queen, they did a couple sets of cells to make her, and you know, they continued to backfill that nest, and there was nowhere for her to lay, even if she started or the new one started. So what we're doing is just checking for evidence of a queen. And the next one should have, the green should have emergency cells, because either that queen went in here and was killed or took, or she went in the grass and died. But she is, it'd be a miracle. And I don't think I didn't pray for a miracle after that mistake, but it'd be a miracle if she's in the green one. Truly would. Wow, they've drawn this out. And putting in a lot of cups like they want to make a queen. Hopefully they didn't kill them both somehow. Check one of them. So I'm going to put that there. Wow, they drew that out good. I guess there is still a good amount of nectar coming in, enough to push them. And I wonder too if they moved some to make room for a queen. Because these cells are now, look at there, there's eggs in there. So one of them got in here and got busy. We're queen right. 100%. I'll be dog. Look how full this thing is. This was a nuke.
But it was a full one. I was gonna sell it as soon as she started laying and showed me her pattern. So far, I'm pretty impressed with this Premier Foundation. It's done super good. Obviously with feeding it did good, but there was not a big flow going on after when this thing was put together. It was winding down, waiting for the secondaries, and look, it's drawing out good. So I didn't expect them to draw all this out. So I'm gonna check this one in, since they're already starting to draw it and there's a few eggs in it. I'm not gonna mess with them much anymore. They got a queen. I'm excited about that. And there you go. Now we're gonna look at this other nuke and see if they built cells. At least I got one queen out of the deal when I had two, darn it. Oh my goodness, the dumb things we do. I was so irritated with myself because I didn't catch that queen properly. After having her right there and everything being able to be solved that quickly, and I didn't catch her, and it was my fault. I was so sick about that for the day. It was like 2 days. All I could think about was this nuke. Golly, that's heavy. I just want to see cells. They had plenty of eggs, so there's no reason they shouldn't have. Oh, there's a queen in here. It is a miracle. Praise the Lord. There she is. Look at that. Did she fly back here somehow? Did she find her way? All right, look, I got to slide this frame right back down, and I am not rolling her. And I'm going to catch her, but I got a cage. It's not going to bend because it's plastic. I'm going to put her in here, and I'm going to go back to my old rule of thumb, which I even thought about when I did it. Put her on the frames. Nope, I put her on another nuke. Golly, I don't want to take a chance of rolling her. You know, thank you, Jesus. I said, Lord, I need a miracle. I said that. I said, Lord, I need a miracle. I just messed this up. I messed this up royally. Grant me the wisdom to at least fix the one colony, and I need a miracle for that green one. Well, lo and behold, I said, okay, let's just put everything, since they're so honey bound, let's put everything in a 10 frame. Let's let everything shake out. Let's call it a day, and we'll just start from scratch, and we'll see what we have. And if they make emergency cells, we'll give them a shot to make a new queen. If they don't, we'll merge them with that one. And other than a miracle, we'll call it a day. And I was like, Lord, that's what I need, a miracle for this to work. So I sat around still looking for that queen for a long time on the ground, and I walked away, and I'd already got this all settled. And I said, Lord, I need a miracle. If that thing is to have a queen, I'm gonna have to have a miracle. And I put the lid on, left it, and said, I'll check it in a week. That's a miracle. This queen disappeared on me over in those weeds right there. I think she went through the vent hole on the lid. She wasn't in the lid anymore. So what I did, when I couldn't find her, I put the lid back on the yellow nuke until I got this box over here. Then I put this box in here, still never found her. She was on the yellow lid. She disappeared. She either jumped or she went back into that colony with the lid. Somehow or another, she's back here. It's a true miracle. It is. It's a miracle. That's it. That's phenomenal. I don't even think I want to even sell that. That was the one I was going to sell originally. I don't even want to sell it. I want to put it in a 10 frame. I don't want to sell that queen. That's a miracle queen. Wow. Wow. And they're full. They need space. Wow. Wow. And that's where believe for what you pray. Goodness gracious. All right, she's in there. Going down. We don't want to have to ask for another miracle. Get in there. Okay. So, I think I'm going to put this in a 10 frame. Not today, but probably tomorrow. Wow. I mean, I see crazy stuff in beekeeping, don't get me wrong. Thank you, Lord. I'm going to look in this one real fast. Curious what they're doing in here. So no, I tell you one I do know for fact, swarm. See, it's full of honey. So most I would do with something like this is if I see the population dwindling, it's not capped. I would put it somewhere and let it get capped. Other bees could cap it. That doesn't always work though. You'd think it would, and it doesn't. So it would have to be dried in my honey house for about 3 days is what I do when they're all the way uncapped like that. I don't like to pull them uncapped, but you do what you got to do. I'm still wild on this miracle. Sorry guys, I'm kind of speechless on that. This one here is packed out with bees. It's packed out. The one next to it I know for sure swarmed. It had swarm cells. I left it alone. I wasn't gonna mess with it. The population was down, so what I may do, pull a super off, and even though there already may be honey in it, at least, while they don't have, they can at least sense some more space and finish the frames out if they're not finished. Because this one,
is finished. This is one of my new queens. I don't want her to leave. So while they are new and they don't tend to swarm as much, don't put it past them. Completely capped. I know they're not capped all the way out, but that one is. Always excited to see that beautiful white capping on there from these newer frames. I'm excited to see the older ones too now. It's gonna be a bountiful harvest. We're grateful, we're thankful. Oh my gosh, I need my Mr. Ed tool. Brian Baker gave me a Mr. Ed tool. I'm gonna go get it. It's on display on my shelf, but I'm gonna use it. All right, I ran back in real quick. I got this. Y'all know the Mr. Ed shank, as Dirt Rooster calls them, the Mr. Ed tool I've always called them. You gotta understand, Mr. Ed and I've been keeping bees together for a long time, and so I know all his tricks. This is one of them. And Brian Baker, from none other than right near Baker, Louisiana, actually, but Pride area, sent me this. He sent Joey one. I sure appreciate it. I'm wanting to thank you in public because it's on display. Actually, it went in my honey house immediately, sitting on my display shelf with all my honey. But I'm going to use it now. And thank you so much, Brian, for thinking about me and doing that for me. I do appreciate it. You got some frames stuck together. You stick this in here because I got a bunch of them stuck. And you can go as high as you want, and I can go high. And you can bring the frames back down. So I'm even going to go higher. See, they're all stuck. And that's bee space. That's my problem. That's those are both manufactured boxes, not homemade or anything. But they, with the rot and everything, there's no telling. They're old. And that way I can clear. It's also good for clearing burr comb, and it's good for ticking the bees off, just like I did. They didn't like that going through there, and I don't blame them. But yeah, so that's what that tool is for. Outside frame is not all the way full, nor is this one. But down here they are. The bees, I'm gonna put this back together. They hate this camera. This colony's just mean. This one, they're not bothering it. Oh gosh. And of course it's gotta go up high. Oh. Wow. So I do got a super. I had it sitting off to the side because it's about to fall apart. But it's got a spacer. Got a few new frames, a couple half-drawn frames. They probably aren't going to draw them, but at least they have space. Again, I'm not worried about getting honey. I'm worried about making sure she's happily settled here. I put this super on the other day. Hive wasn't using it. Golly, I just put this on about 10 days ago. It's full. That's what I'm always concerned with, is late swarms. They just don't requeen as well. They requeen. I say that wrong. They definitely requeen. They don't come back off their mating flights. It's just an issue. Dragonflies are out in number. It's just birds have honed in on these things. There's not as many drones out there to get good, selection, things like that. And they just don't come back sometimes. The majority, I think, just don't come back. Well, folks, that's all I'm going to do today. There's not much more I can do out there. I got this one bee following me around for whatever reason. I put a super on that I had. There's nothing else I can do. All the other supers are pretty much full. I'll watch again when I pull honey to make sure that when I pull them, if they look pretty depleted on numbers, I'll move any supers that aren't finished to stronger colonies. We'll pull what we can, but that's going to start in the next 10 days to 2 weeks. Going to start getting ahead of the game. That's it for today. That's all I can really do, and that's all I'm doing. I'm going to go work on the packages a little bit. But yeah, I sure hope you enjoyed this video, and I sure appreciate all y'all watching. It's Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike. I do bees. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week. May God bless you. See y'all later.